Have you ever noticed that when Americans celebrate 1776, they often celebrate a country that didn't actually exist yet? Not the America we know today, anyway. When the Declaration of Independence was signed, the United States was not a continent-spanning superpower. It wasn't even close. In fact, America's 250th birthday is really the story of how a small collection of coastal colonies imagined a country far larger than the one they actually controlled. Most people picture the United States in their minds as a vast nation stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. They think of New York, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Los Angeles, Seattle, Alaska, and Hawaii. None of that was part of the United States in 1776. The America that declared independence consisted of 13 colonies hugging the Atlantic coastline. If you looked at a map in 1776, the United States would appear surprisingly small. To the west stood an enormous barrier, the Appalachian Mountains. Beyond those mountains lay a vast interior that most colonists had never seen. It really was the case that the Founding Fathers were declaring independence from Britain, while having only a limited understanding of the continent they hoped to occupy. Large portions of North America remained unexplored by European settlers. Spanish territory stretched across the south and west. British forces controlled Canada. French influence lingered in the interior. And hundreds of indigenous nations governed enormous regions of the continent. The real reason 1776 matters isn't because America became powerful overnight. It's because a group of colonies made an extraordinary claim about the future. They weren't declaring what America was. They were declaring what America might become. And that was far from guaranteed. Most people don't realize how vulnerable the new nation looked. Britain possessed the world's most powerful navy. The colonies had no central government capable of raising large amounts of money. They lacked a professional army. Their population was small compared with the great powers of Europe. From an outside perspective, many observers assumed the rebellion would fail. But here's the twist. The geography that seemed to make independence difficult also helped make it possible. The Atlantic Ocean separated Britain from the battlefield. Supplying armies across thousands of kilometers of ocean was expensive and slow. The forests, rivers, mountains, and vast distances of eastern North America created challenges that European commanders struggled to overcome. Geography became one of the revolution's silent allies. Yet even after independence was declared, the future remained uncertain. Winning the Revolutionary War was only the beginning. The greater challenge was holding together 13 separate colonies with different economies, cultures, and interests. Virginia was not Massachusetts. South Carolina was not Pennsylvania. Many people identified more strongly with their colony than with the idea of a united nation. This is where the map becomes fascinating. The United States wasn't built around a single ancient capital or ethnic identity. It was stitched together from separate communities spread across hundreds of miles. The country existed first as an idea, then it had to become a place. Most people don't realize that when Americans celebrate Independence Day, they're celebrating a moment before the United States had a constitution, before Washington, D.C. existed, before the Louisiana Purchase, before the Gold Rush, before the Civil War, and before America became a global power. The Declaration of Independence was not the end of a story. It was the first page. And perhaps that's what America's 250th birthday really means. It's not a celebration of a finished nation. It's a reminder that nations are built by people willing to imagine something larger than what exists in front of them. In 1776, the United States was little more than a narrow strip of settlements along the Atlantic coast. Yet within that small space lived an idea powerful enough to reshape an entire continent. America's 250th birthday isn't really about how old the country is. It's about how improbable its beginning was. A nation that started as a fragile experiment on the edge of a continent became one of the most influential countries in human history. And in 1776, almost nobody could see that future on the map. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button for more great stories from the past.